State's 88-5 WVCP Gallatin basketball during this segment right here. So
How about the Chicago Bulls starting off hot, 6-1.
Chicago Bulls, yes.
Number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference.
How long does this last?
Their moves for DeMar DeRozan and Lonzo Ball have definitely been paying off so far.
Oh, yes.
How consistent do you think this stays, Mike?
Oh, I think they're going to stay like top 4 seed.
Top 4?
However, I definitely don't think they're going to keep that 1 spot. Absolutely not.
Who do you think comes for the 1?
That's a tough question because the Nets aren't good.
Right now you have the Heat who are right behind them, 5-1.
Yeah.
The Knicks are 5-2. And then
I think the
you have
Knicks are a big threat.
I think the Heat are the best team in the East, in my opinion.
New York's
Really?
going crazy.
You have them over the the Nets.
I'm on board with you.
The Nets right now, that's a good segue, actually. The Nets are looking like another problem I'm seeing throughout the league. All the teams that everyone had believing were going to be the ones to just dominate the league this season, they're all trash.
What did I ask last week? Is it too early to press the panic button?
I'd still say
because
it's too early.
I think it is. I still think it
it's-
is. But my question was conditioned with the fact that we were like, John Morant MVP.
Oh, he still is.
I mean,
It's still Curry for me.
I wouldn't say that.
3 games in.
He
3 games in. The Lakers and the Nets were struggling. So I asked, is it too early to
Have
hit
you
the panic
looked at
button?
Jaws
This
games
week,
after
the
that?
panic button's still on for the Nets, though.
oh, I
Nets
think
are
I
4
think
and 3.
I think the Nets and the Lakers are going to be.
I think they're in the playoffs.
They're bouncing.
Nets
They're
are
bouncing.
4-3.
I think both.
They're the current 8 seed, and they're on a 2-game winning streak. I don't see what's
I think
much
both
to
teams,
worry about there.
I think both teams are going to bounce back, but I do think
How
that
they've looked.
they're not these unstoppable teams we
Yeah.
thought they were going to be. Like I definitely think they're both beatable now.
Yes.
And
And
I-
so that's a panic button for me.
Oh, I definitely
so
agree
by
with that.
panic, are you saying they're not going to be as good as they were last year, or are you just saying they're a bad team now?
Oh, I'm not saying they're a bad team or not a playoff team, but like everybody thought, there's panic button means that they're not 1, 2, or 3. I don't think that they're 1, 2, or 3. I don't think that either
I
the
don't
Lakers
think-
or the Nets finish
I
1, 2,
think
or
the
3.
I think the Nets are 3.
Yeah, I think the Nets are 3.
I think the Lakers are going to be 3 or 4 too.
Is it too early to panic on the Bucks? Bucks are 3 and 4.
I think the Bucks are in the same boat as the Nets, in my opinion.
About the Celtics.
It's
The
still
Celtics,
The Celtics,
now that's a
there's
panic button. That's a panic button right there.
If we need to like develop a panic button for the show,
I
and
don't-
like bring it in.
A lot of people were complaining. Were complaining about Marcus Smart's like criticisms of his team, and I kind of agree with them saying that.
I'm not a big Marcus Smart fan.
I like
love
Marcus
Marcus
Smart, but I will say it's the right message, wrong messenger because he's been playing horrible himself.
Yeah.
But
He's a good defender, and that's about it.
no, he's a good playmaker. He's a
Yeah.
good playmaker.
I don't like his
The,
game.
the
He
thing-
fits a niche role that not a lot of guys in the league can fill.
Annoying.
Yeah, he's like him, Pat Bev.
Yeah.
Bring another kind of
Menace.
element to the
The
game.
problem with Tatum is he's taking stupid shots. And he usually doesn't do that. He's taking too many shots because there's no reason he should be going 17 for 35.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be doing that.
Speaking of cold shooters, Damian
Yeah.
Lillard, man. Damian Lillard loses to the Tobias list, Embiid list, and obviously Ben Simmons list 76ers.
Yeah, and we were missing 2 other starters that game too.
It's bad.
A lot of people who I'm expecting to do amazing are not looking as good as I would have thought.
Yeah.
But I will say this, when it comes to Ja, I'm not going to agree with that. Because the thing about Ja is, here's something people need to look at. Yeah, they said when they played the Heat, they're like, oh, they locked him up. Do you know what locking up Ja looked like last year?
Yeah.
Ja getting locked up means he scored 9 points. Ja getting locked up now, he's scoring 20 points.
Exactly.
On good efficiency.
He's definitely
On
having
good shooting splits and also getting 9 assists, 8 rebounds. You know, like he's becoming more.
If he stays consistent, this is definitely going to be his breakout year.
I think he
he's-
probably could still end the year as a contender.
I think he
If
could
the
end the
season
year
ended-
as an
if the
all-star
season ended
starter.
right
John.
now, yeah,
Oh,
he's in the
oh,
MVP
oh, it's not just
conversation,
about-
but I don't know if he's going to keep this pace
I
up.
think he is.
Yeah.
I think he is because we're already, 7 games in?
Yep.
And usually if you compare this year to last year, Ja had the first game of the year, he was fucking incredible. Excuse me. He was incredible. And he had 44 points.
Yeah.
And then
And
the next
then
game he had 12 points. And then he had 8 points. And he had 20 points. And then it was fluctuating.
Sounds like a my player when you're like a 67 overall and you like randomly go off, then
Yeah.
you have no minutes the next game.
Exactly. It's a fluctuation. But right now, Ja is different. Every game he's had very good shooting.
He looks
shooting
like a
splits,
vet now.
A lot of good efficiency.
I'm about to get some hate. I'm taking LaMelo over.
I'm not doing that.
I'm taking LaMelo over Ja.
I'm not doing that because there's one thing that was it. He doesn't have the defense yet. Ja's developing further on defense than he's ever had before.
That's true.
He's also the playmaking is not the gap in playmaking isn't that big. Because look at it.
I think LaMelo may be one of the best playmakers in the league.
It's not that.
It's not that gap. The gap isn't that big. The assists are relatively similar. What is it? The
turnovers.
The turnovers are very low are not really low, but they're pretty similar. Yeah. And then we also have the fact that Ja does not have the ball in his hands as much as you would think. They're not that different. Yeah. The only thing I'd say that LaMelo is leading him in probably is his 3-point shooting. Yeah. But other than that, I'm not.
That's just not Ja's game. Ja is like third in the league in points in the paint.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And he's obviously he's the only player that's not a center in like the top 10.
It's the thing, like the games between those two players are very different, but I would say that I'd say one is leading.
I don't think you'd be wrong starting if you took 5 guys to start a franchise with right now. They might be 2 of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, because
okay, let's continue that. Who are the other 3 that we're starting a franchise with?
Giannis,
Luka.
Then who's 5?
I would say.
I would not take
I would not
Embiid.
take
Maybe
Embiid.
Jokic.
Yes, I'd actually take
I would take
Jokic.
Jokic.
Because
Jokic
I would not take
is
him.
nowhere near
I think
as good
Anthony
as
Edwards.
Anthony
Edwards is in that conversation
maybe
too.
Tatum.
I would say Tatum, but the problem
Yeah.
is just right now I need him.
He's
to get
just
out of
having
this
a
funk.
rough patch right
But
now.
I would say, as for the Embiid point, I would have said Embiid if he could play longer than 50 games.
Embiid's the past few years has played more than 50 games. Last year he played 70 something.
And the past few
Well, actually, he
few
played
years
55
before
last
that,
year. There's only 72 games. He played 55 games last year.
Then it was the year before. Whatever year before he was. Yeah, not last year. Last year it was a weird year.
But the fact that is an outlier that he can play almost an entire season.
Because the thing is, every season he gets injured, and it takes him out for
And
at
I mean
least
that doesn't make him a
15 to
bad
20.
player. It's
Oh,
not
it's not.
anything he can help, but it sucks.
Oh yeah, it's always
still
it's
think
availability.
Okay, so you're saying that if he wasn't, let's take injuries out of the equation of this. Are you still taking Jokic over Embiid?
That's actually, I still would say that's a tough.
Jokic
That's a
is
tough one.
not.
But the thing
Anywhere near
is,
as
the thing
physically
is,
dominant.
we can't do that.
Oh, it's not about the physically dominance though. It's because they both have different games.
Yeah.
They play the same position but offer 2 different things. Because because the Embiid is a
How you
stretch
want
5.
to build your team, you know?
Like Embiid is a stretch 5, and
Well,
Jokic
if we're
is a
trying
point
to build our
point
team,
center.
then we're not taking both Ja and LaMelo.
Why?
You could.
I-
Because LaMelo does not need to score. You've seen that with Miles Bridges' uptake. He does
Yeah.
not need to score. And Ja is probably one of the best finishers in the league. Right now, probably is the best finisher in the league.
And then we also have Luka on this team who needs the ball. Like,
Now, Luka would be the one that you wouldn't have put on the team with them. But LaMelo and Ja, they could work together. But Luka would not, because Luka, from what it seems like right now, you've seen it. You've seen 2 different options.
Okay.
You've seen that.
I see what y'all are saying. I was kind of saying if you had to pick somebody to start your franchise right now, those were my guys. But yeah, I get what you mean on your.
I'm saying start a franchise
Okay.
with 5 players
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, like you wouldn't.
That's a different discussion
Well, yeah.
from what I was saying.
Well, that's about fit. Yeah, that's a lot about fit.
Yeah.
Because
I was saying, I thought he was. I thought we were all talking about like our top 5 players we would start.
Oh, I agree with that too. Like that's what I understood.
I didn't
that
think we were
perspective.
making a starting 5.
No, I understood that perspective on,
Yeah.
I understood on both of them. Like,
Yeah.
but in terms of like, if you had to put them on the team, Luka would not be on
But
the team.
to your point about the way Jokic plays, it's kind of similar to not play style. I wouldn't say Rudy Gobert has a similar play style, but as where Jamal Murray is kind of like the leading scorer for the Nuggets, while Jokic is more. He's the better player, but he's not the better scorer, and it's kind of like Rudy Gobert. I would say
between Embiid.
I'm not saying anything about Embiid.
He's talking about
I'm not
the
saying
Nuggets.
anything about Embiid.
He's about the Nuggets.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know, but you said he's the better scorer
no,
than
Jamal.
Rudy Gobert.
No,
No,
I'm saying,
he-
I'm saying Nikola Jokic is
Yes.
not the best scorer on his team. He's the best player on his team. Jamal Murray is
the better
best scorer on
Okay.
his team.
I heard.
Kind of like
I was
Rudy
thinking
Gobert.
Embiid, and then you said Rudy Gobert, and I was like,
I was saying Rudy Gobert is the best player on his team. Like,
I would never agree. No,
it's
after
close
last
with
year,
Donovan
after last
Mitchell.
year, that this is the hierarchy.
But
Here,
Donovan is
here.
not the best player.
The hierarchy is right here.
He's so much better. Donovan
Mitchell can play make. He can score.
Mike
He's-
Conley might be
he can
the
actually
second best
move.
player on that team.
He can actually get higher than 2 inches off the ground.
Never mind.
I feel
we're
Embiid
just
would be
gonna
a better
move on.
argument. with
Rudy
that one.
Gobert is a stud defensively.
I wouldn't even say that.
Defensively,
I'd say in terms of he's probably the most one-sided.
yeah, that's
type
what
of
I'm
defender
saying.
I've
He's
ever
a
seen.
stud defensively,
No,
and that's where it ends.
Oh, I
The
don't mean
line is drawn.
one-sided as in one side of the ball. I mean one side of defense, which is rim protection.
Yeah.
If he has to leave that paint He's not fast enough to get to the perimeter, so you'll just score over him. He's not good as a defender outside of rim protection.
Yeah.
So he's just going to stop your dunks, your lays. That's all he can really do.
Last year in April, Shaq said that he would take Embiid over Jokic at 10. If like the grading scale was 10, then Jokic is 9.9. Jokic 26.4, 11 rebounds, 8.7 assists.
But there's two different. That's the difference in their games. And also in terms of the Shaq argument, I don't know if that's a good argument because Shaq is the type of person who's like, I like Embiid because he's like physical. Jokic is not physical whatsoever.
So do you want your big man when you already have like Giannis? I'd rather have the most physically dominant team possible. If you can overpower somebody, then why would you not want that?
Because
when you're already good enough to be considered alongside the other guy, yet one's more physical, does that not lead to putting him above
you want
them?
everybody to sit in the paint?
Because it's
He doesn't have to sit in the paint. If
Because
you're
it's
physical and you can literally Euro step people.
Dude, if we got Ja and Giannis and Embiid in there, man, everybody's going to the paint.
That's the thing.
the
like,
creaminess of how like the post spins and stuff they be doing. Oh my gosh.
The thing is, you would look at this in the perspective of we're in a perimeter-oriented league.
Yeah.
You can have people like Giannis, but you also have to remember something about Giannis win that finals. In that finals, he played against probably the best matchup he could ever possibly get in the finals. Because look at how the team performing against the Nets with just KD.
Yeah.
That team is a perimeter shooting team, and when they had at least two of their stars, along with their three-point shooting role players, blew out the Bucks by 30 points.
Yeah.
So in a perimeter-oriented league, having mostly interior players, you're not going to really do too good, unless you have a perfect matchup of people who are way too small to be able to stop you in the interior.
Giannis has almost unmatched athleticism. If you were sitting there today, Mike, who's your championship winner? I want to look back and see if you got the cold take or the hot take right now, because you're the resident expert.
It's early in the season.
You got to call it.
It would be the Heat.
Boom.
I would say the Miami Heat are the best team in the league right now because they have the most. Prior to the Grizzlies, which just speaks volumes about the Grizzlies as well. No team had scored over 100 points on them.
Yeah.
All right.
Their defense has been elite. We've had Tyler Hero in this hot streak. I believe it to be a hot streak. I don't believe he's going to keep up that scoring output, but off the bench. But they also have a bunch of perimeter.
Everything is clicking right now.
Yeah,
100%.
A bunch of perimeter shooting, a bunch of elite defense. They're out rebounding most of their opponents. They're clicking on all cylinders. And I think they have, and their chemistry has been instant with their new pieces too.
Mm-hmm.
For me, give me the Warriors. Give me a Klay Thompson return, James Wiseman whenever he gets healthy again, and that team hasn't missed a beat. It's the Warriors again.
I can't look at the Warriors as the Warriors of old until that team's IQ increases.
I don't see a team beating them in 7 games.
I can because
Who?
The Heat. Steph's IQ is there. Draymond's IQ is kind of there. Actually, now that I take it back, no, his basketball IQ is great. But when it comes to
His goofiness.
Yes, when it just comes to general IQ, it's very low because I've seen
Draymond's general IQ low. Cover 4 Sports.
Because I saw that man in a clutch situation when they take the ball up from the other team side of the court and walk, and then get an 8-second violation at the end of the games to give a turnover to lead to the Grizzlies.
Westbrook type play right there.
Very. That was probably one of the stupidest things I've ever seen out of him.
Stephen, Cade, season ends today. Who's y'all's NBA champion?
I would probably say Miami too, but just for fun, let me give you Chicago Bulls.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to get a lot of agreement with this, but I really like Utah. I think Utah's picking up where they left off last season.
I can see it.
And I like where they're at right now.
I can see it.
The Utah Jazz are probably the greatest regular season team of all time. As a playoff team, though, they've shown me in back-to-back years they're frauds.
Yeah, they're not a good playoff team.
Last year's second round, they lost to a Clippers team that got hot. I mean, their bench was on fire during that series, and I don't think that you can knock them too hard for that.
Oh, I knocked them for that for the same reason, because they lost in the exact same way they lost the year prior, which is they had a 3-1 lead and got reverse swept.
Yeah.
Both times.
And that's definitely something they got to work on, but I think it's very possible they'll get past the second round this year.
It's a possibility that I'm not willing to bank on, especially when the person that they're looking at as their best player right now is Rudy Gobert. They're not winning a championship like that.
I think Donovan Mitchell's their best player, but that's a debate for another day. And this is going to wrap up this Cover 4 Sports segment on 88.5 WVCP Gallatin. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, at Cover4 Sports. Stay covered.